You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not behind. If you woke up this morning feeling tired, confused, or heavy, that does not mean you are failing at life. It means you were human. Many people wake up every day with a quiet pressure in their chest, a feeling that time is running, a feeling that others are moving faster, a feeling that they should be further ahead by now. And slowly, without noticing, that feeling turns into shame. You start telling yourself stories. Maybe I am weak. Maybe I lack discipline. Maybe something is wrong with me. But listen carefully. None of that is true. You are not failing because you lack ability. You are not stuck because you lack intelligence. You are not behind because you lack potential. You are simply waking up without direction. No one ever taught you how powerful the beginning of a day really is. No one showed you that the morning is not just a time, it is a doorway. Most people wake up and immediately carry yesterday into today. Old worries, old regrets, old fears. They open their eyes and step straight into noise, pressure, and comparison. And then they wonder why the day feels heavy before it even begins. If that has been your experience, you are not weak. You are just exhausted from starting every day on defense. So let this moment be different. This is not a lecture. This is not a judgment. This is not another voice telling you to try harder. This is a pause, a breath, a quiet reset. Your morning is not a test you failed. It is a second chance you have not been shown how to use. As long as you're breathing, you still have time. As long as you can wake up, you still have possibility. You do not need to fix your entire life today. You do not need to become someone else overnight. You only need to understand one truth. You are not failing at life. You are just starting your days without power. Right now. Most people think the morning is just the beginning of a day, something small, something ordinary, something to rush through so real life can start. But this is where everything is misunderstood. Morning is not a routine. Morning is not a habit checklist. Morning is not about productivity. Morning is identity construction time. Who you are becoming is decided quietly before the world is loud. Before messages arrive, before demands appear, before other people's priorities touch your mind. The first hour after you wake up is different from the rest of the day. Your brain is not fully armored yet. Your mind is not distracted yet. Your inner voice is still honest. This is when the brain is most programmable, not because you are weak, but because you are open, like fresh soil before seeds are planted. Whatever enters your mind during this window sets the tone. Stress creates stress. Calm creates calm. Direction creates direction. That is why mornings quietly shape destiny. History understood this long before science could explain it. Benjamin Franklin once wrote that if you lose an hour in the morning, you spend all day trying to find it. He was not talking about time management. He was talking about control. Old European armies trained discipline at dawn, not in the middle of battle, not after chaos arrived, before the day could resist them. They knew something simple. If soldiers started the day scattered, they fought scattered. If they started grounded, they fought grounded. Battles were often decided before sunrise, not on the field, in preparation. Modern neuroscience now confirms what history already practiced. In the first 60 to 90 minutes after waking, the brain enters a state of high neuroplasticity. That means learning happens faster, patterns form more easily, habits sink deeper. The mind is not yet overloaded with input. It is not defending itself. It is listening. This is why the morning is dangerous when neglected and powerful when protected. Most people wake up and immediately hand this window away to notifications, to headlines, to other people's problems. Without realizing it, they allow the outside world to decide who they will be that day, and then they spend the rest of the day reacting. not because they are irresponsible, but because they never claimed the first moment of control. Discipline feels hardest later in the day because the mind is already tired, already pulled, already scattered. But in the morning, discipline is light. It is easier to install when resistance is low. This is why people who change their mornings often feel their lives change faster than expected, not because they worked harder, but because they worked earlier. They stopped trying to fix problems at night. They started shaping identity in the morning. This is the shift. You do not rise to the level of your goals. Goals live in the future. They are abstract. You fall to the level of your mornings because mornings are repeated, concrete, unavoidable. Who you are at 7 a.m. becomes who you are at noon. Who you are at noon becomes who you are at night. And who you are every night quietly becomes your life. This is not pressure, it is power. Because it means change does not require a dramatic transformation. It requires a new beginning repeated. Your morning is the factory where your identity is built. Every day, one small brick at a time. And once you understand this, you stop asking why motivation disappears. You stop asking why discipline feels hard. You stop blaming yourself. You realize the truth. You were never lacking willpower. You were just letting the most important hour decide itself. Every habit you are about to hear is not a trick. It is a mirror. Each one answers a quiet question people rarely say out loud. Why do I feel scattered? Why do I react so easily? Why do I know what to do but still don't do it? Habit 1 begins with this pain. Why does my mind feel hijacked before the day even starts? The brain is sensitive after waking. Whatever enters first shapes attention. One person wakes and reaches for their phone. They absorb other lives, other fears, other urgency. Another person delays that input. They stay with themselves. The beginner action is simple. No phone for the first hour. 7 days. Identity label, the mind protector. Habit 2 asks another question. Why do my thoughts feel heavy all day? The brain is not designed to store everything. Unwritten thoughts loop. One person carries anxiety silently. Another puts it on paper. Writing releases pressure. The action is 5 minutes of journaling. 7 days. Identity label, the self-aware builder. Habit 3 asks this. Why do I overreact to small things? Untrained minds move fast. Calm requires practice. One person wakes and enters noise. Another sits with their breath. Stillness creates space between feeling and action. The action is 5 minutes of meditation. 7 days. Identity label, the calm warrior. Habit 4 asks, why am I busy but not progressing? The brain needs direction. Too many tasks create confusion. One person reacts all day. Another chooses 3 priorities: must do, should do, would like to do. The action is writing 3 tasks. 7 days. Identity label, the finisher. Habit 5 asks, why do I feel mentally weak? The mind becomes what it consumes. Scrolling creates comparison. Reading creates clarity. One person feeds noise. Another feeds meaning. The action is 1 page of reading. 7 days. Identity label, the intentional thinker. Habit 6 asks, why is my energy always low? The body and mind are linked. Movement creates momentum. One person waits for motivation. Another moves first. Exercise sends a signal of strength. The action is 10 minutes of movement. 7 days. Identity label, the disciplined body. Habit 7 asks, why do I doubt myself? The brain believes repeated images. Visualization builds identity before action. One person sees limitations. Another sees becoming. The action is 1 minute of visualization. 7 days. Identity label, the future self. Habit 8 asks the final question. Why am I still stuck? Thinking does not change life. Action does. One person waits to feel ready. Another moves imperfectly. Action creates confidence. The action is one small step daily. 7 days. Identity label, the one who acts. These habits are not about doing more. They are about becoming different. Each morning, you vote for your character. When you wake up and reach for your phone, something quiet but powerful happens. Before you choose who you are today, the world chooses for you. Messages arrive, news appears, other people's emergencies, opinions, successes, and fears rush straight into your mind. And without noticing, a shift takes place. You stop being the author of your day. You become the audience of someone else's life. The phone is not just a device. It is an identity injector. The first hour after waking is when your mind is soft, not weak, open, like wet cement. Whatever touches it first leaves a mark. When the phone touches it, the mark is urgency, comparison, distraction, reaction. One person wakes up and scrolls. Their nervous system spikes before they even sit up. Their attention breaks into pieces. They feel behind before the day has started. They are already reacting to a world they did not choose. Another person wakes up and does nothing. They sit on the edge of the bed. They breathe slowly. They stay with themselves. This person does not avoid the world. They delay it. And that delay creates protection. By not touching your phone, you protect your focus. You protect your emotional baseline. You protect your inner voice from being drowned out by noise. This hour becomes a quiet border. Nothing crosses it without permission. The beginner action is simple. For 1 full hour after waking, no phone. Not messages, not social media, not news. 7 days. At first, your hand will reach automatically. Your brain will crave stimulation. That discomfort is not failure. It is withdrawal. Your nervous system has learned to wake up in chaos. Now it is learning something new. After a few days, something shifts. Your thoughts slow down. Your breathing deepens. Your mornings feel quieter, steadier, cleaner. You begin to notice your own thoughts again, your own intentions, your own rhythm. Your attention starts to feel like it belongs to you. This is not discipline for productivity. It is not about doing more. It is about being intact before the world pulls at you. This is protection for identity. You are telling yourself, without saying a word, my mind is valuable. My attention matters. I decide who touches my inner world first. When you do this consistently, people notice something different about you. You are calmer, less reactive, more grounded. Not because you worked harder, but because you defended the most important border of your life. Identity label, the protector. Most people carry their thoughts all day. Unfinished tasks, unspoken emotions, quiet fears looping in the background. They wake up already thinking. They fall asleep still thinking. And in between, their mind never truly rests. The brain was never designed to hold everything. It is not a storage unit. It is a processor. When thoughts stay inside, they do not disappear. They spin, they repeat, they grow heavier with time. That is why anxiety feels exhausting. Not because life is hard, but because the mind is overloaded. One person wakes up with pressure and keeps it inside. They tell themselves they will deal with it later. They move through the day tense, distracted, and impatient. Their emotions leak into conversations. Their focus breaks easily. Another person wakes up and takes a pen. They open a notebook. They write, and something releases. Writing is not about sounding smart. It is not about grammar or beautiful sentences. It is about making the invisible visible. The moment you write a thought down, your brain understands it no longer has to hold it. The task feels contained. The emotion feels acknowledged. The pressure eases. The emotional fog clears. The inner noise settles. You stop reacting blindly to feelings you cannot name. You start observing yourself with calm distance. This is where power begins. The action is small. 5 minutes. You write 3 things: how you feel right now, honestly, what you are grateful for, even if it is small, one thing that truly matters today. That is enough. You are not trying to fix your life on paper. You are organizing your inner world. 7 days. After a week, patterns begin to appear. You notice what drains you. You recognize what triggers stress. You see which thoughts return again and again. And instead of being controlled by them, you understand them. Understanding creates distance. Distance creates choice. This is not journaling as art. It is not journaling as motivation. This is journaling as self-command. You are training awareness, and awareness is the foundation of discipline. When you know what you feel, you are not ruled by it. When you see your thoughts clearly, they lose their grip. Over time, you become calmer, more intentional, more grounded in your decisions, not because life becomes easier, but because you become clearer. You stop carrying everything inside your head. You give your mind permission to rest. This habit does not make you expressive. It makes you precise. It turns chaos into clarity, reaction into reflection. You are no longer fighting your inner world. You are building it. Most people wake up and enter chaos immediately. Noise, thoughts, pressure. Their mind starts running before their body even stands up. They check messages. They think about problems. They replay yesterday. They worry about what is coming. And then they wonder why they feel tired before the day has begun. Meditation interrupts this pattern. It places stillness before chaos. This is not about becoming spiritual. It is not about emptying your mind. It is not about sitting perfectly or feeling calm instantly. Meditation is about training one skill, the ability to pause. Without training, the mind reacts automatically. A message triggers emotion. A comment creates anger. A problem causes panic. Reaction feels fast and powerful, but it is not strength. It is loss of control. One person wakes up and lets the mind run. Thoughts pile on top of thoughts. Emotions take over decisions. They react all day without choosing how. Another person wakes up and sits in silence. They close their eyes. They breathe. Nothing dramatic happens, but something important does. They create space. In that space, the mind slows down. The breath becomes steady. Thoughts still appear, but they are observed, not obeyed. This is where response replaces reaction. When you meditate, you're not stopping thoughts. You are practicing not being pulled by them. A thought appears, you notice it. You return to your breath. Again and again. This repetition builds control. The beginner action is simple. Sit somewhere quiet. Bed, chair, floor, anywhere. Close your eyes, breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. Do this for 5 minutes. When thoughts come, do not fight them. Do not judge yourself. Just notice and return to breathing. 7 days. After a week, something shifts. You do not become emotionless. You become steadier. When stress appears, you notice it sooner. When someone speaks sharply, you pause before answering. When pressure rises, you breathe instead of exploding. This is not weakness, it is mastery. Ancient warriors understood this. Calm was trained before battle, not during it. A calm mind makes better decisions. A calm mind wastes less energy. A calm mind remains clear when others panic. Meditation gives you this advantage. You begin the day grounded instead of rushed, centered instead of scattered. You stop giving every thought equal power. You choose which ones matter. This is not escape from life. It is preparation for it. Each morning you sit in stillness. You send a signal to yourself. I am not controlled by chaos. I decide how I respond. Over time, this becomes visible. People notice you are harder to shake, less reactive, more composed. Not because life is easy, but because you trained before facing it. Many identity shift. I control my inner world before I face the outer one. Identity label, the calm warrior. Many people end their days feeling tired but unsatisfied. They were busy, they moved all day, they answered messages, handled problems, and stayed occupied. And yet, when the noise settles at night, there is a quiet frustration. Nothing important moved forward. This is not because they're lazy, it is because they started the day without direction. Busyness feels productive, but it is often a trap. When the mind has too many options, it becomes reactive. It jumps from task to task, responding to whatever is loudest. Without a plan, other people's priorities decide your day. The 3-task to-do list changes this. It does not try to control everything. It gives the mind a clear mission. One person wakes up and reacts. Messages come in, requests appear. The day pulls them in 10 directions. Another person wakes up and decides first. They write 3 lines: must do, should do, would like to do. That is all. The brain loves clarity. When it knows what matters most, it stops wasting energy. The must task is non-negotiable. If only one thing gets done today, it is this. The should task supports progress, helpful but not critical. The would like task adds balance, something meaningful or personal. This structure removes pressure. You are not trying to do everything. You are choosing what matters. The beginner action is simple. Every morning, after sitting in silence or writing, take 1 minute. Write 3 tasks. No long lists, no perfection. 7 days. At first, you may want to add more. Resist that urge. Focus creates momentum. When you complete one task, your brain releases satisfaction. That feeling builds confidence. Confidence builds discipline. You stop feeling scattered, you start feeling capable. By the end of the day, you can point to progress, not activity, progress. This changes how you see yourself. You are no longer someone who starts many things, you become someone who finishes. Finishing builds self-respect. It teaches the mind that your decisions matter. Over time, people notice this. You follow through, you are reliable. You do what you say you will do, not because you work harder, but because you choose clearly. This habit is not about productivity. It is about identity. You move from reacting to directing, from busyness to purpose. Every morning you write those 3 lines, you make a quiet promise. Today, I move forward. Identity label, the finisher. Most people wake up and feed their mind with noise, notifications, headlines, other people's opinions. Before they choose who they want to become, the world tells them who they should be. Reading reverses this order. It feeds the mind before the world feeds it noise. The brain becomes what it consumes. If you feed it chaos, it thinks in chaos. If you feed it clarity, it thinks in clarity. One person wakes up and scrolls. They absorb comparison and urgency. Their self-worth shifts without permission. Another person wakes up and reads. Just 1 page, a few lines that point forward. That small choice changes the day. Reading in the morning is not about collecting information. It is about shaping identity. Information answers questions. Identity answers direction. When you read intentionally, you remind yourself who you are becoming, not who you were yesterday, not who others expect you to be. The words you read early settle deep. They influence decisions. They guide attention. The beginner action is simple. Read for 5 minutes. 1 page is enough. Choose words that speak to growth. A book on discipline, a biography, a passage that strengthens perspective. 7 days. At first, it may feel slow. Your mind may want faster stimulation. That restlessness is conditioning leaving your system. After a few days, something shifts. Your thoughts become organized. Your confidence feels internal. You stop borrowing motivation from the internet. You start generating it from within. Reading creates a quiet center. From that center, decisions become easier. Distractions lose power. This habit is not about being smart. It is about being anchored. When your mind is fed with purpose, you stop drifting. You stop comparing paths. You walk your own. People who read in the morning move differently. They speak with intention. They listen better. They act with clarity. Not because they know more, but because they know where they are going. Every page you read is a vote for patience, a vote for depth, a vote for direction. Over time, these votes shape identity. You are no longer reacting to noise, you are moving with direction. Mini identity shift. I move with direction, not distraction. Identity label. The thinker in control. Reading each morning trains patience in a fast world. It strengthens attention muscles weakened by constant alerts. You begin noticing subtleties others miss. Your language becomes clearer. Your thinking becomes structured. This quiet discipline compounds. Day by day, your inner compass sharpens. You stop chasing urgency. You start trusting direction. This habit does not shout. It whispers consistency. And consistency, repeated daily, quietly builds authority inside you. It reshapes identity slowly until calm focus feels natural, stable, and unforced over long time. Most people wait to feel motivated before they move. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel energetic. And because motivation rarely arrives on schedule, they stay still. Morning movement flips this pattern. It is action before motivation. The body does not wait for confidence. Confidence follows movement. This is not philosophy. It is physiology. When you move your body, your heart rate increases, blood flows faster, oxygen reaches the brain. Your nervous system wakes up, your posture changes, your chemistry shifts, and without realizing it, your mindset follows. The ancient Romans understood this deeply. They lived by a simple principle: mens sana in corpore sano, a healthy mind in a healthy body. They did not separate physical discipline from mental strength. They trained them together. One person wakes up and stays still. They scroll, they delay movement. Their body remains heavy. Their mind stays slow. Another person wakes up and moves, even when they do not feel like it. They stretch, they walk, they sweat lightly. That person sends a powerful message to their brain. I do what I say I will do. Movement early in the day builds credibility with yourself. You stop negotiating, you start executing. The beginner action is simple: 10 minutes, not an intense workout, not perfection. 10 minutes of movement, stretching, walking, push-ups, squats, anything that raises your heart rate. 7 days. At first, resistance appears. Your body feels stiff. Your mind offers excuses. That resistance is not weakness. It is the edge of growth. Each morning you move anyway, discipline strengthens. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-trust in action. After a few days, something changes. Your energy increases. Your confidence rises quietly. Your posture improves. You begin the day already having done something difficult. That matters. When challenges appear later, they feel smaller. You already proved to yourself that you can act without motivation. This habit does not just train the body, it trains identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who waits. You become someone who moves. People who move early think differently. They take initiative. They tolerate discomfort better. They recover from stress faster. Not because they are tougher, but because their nervous system is trained. Morning movement anchors discipline in the body. Once discipline is physical, it becomes reliable. You are no longer dependent on mood. You act regardless of how you feel. Mini identity shift. I do hard things early. This sentence changes behavior because when you do hard things early, the rest of the day feels lighter. You carry momentum. You carry confidence earned, not imagined. Identity label, the disciplined one. This habit does not shout. It does not require validation. It builds strength quietly. Day by day, your body becomes an ally, and through the body, the mind follows. The brain believes repetition, not logic, not intention, repetition. What you see in your mind again and again slowly becomes familiar, and what feels familiar begins to feel safe. What feels safe begins to feel possible. This is why visualization works. It is not positive thinking. It is not pretending problems do not exist. It is mental training. Elite athletes understand this. Olympic champions rehearse victory in their minds long before their bodies perform it. They see the movement. They feel the pressure. They experience the finish line and advance. They do not imagine success to escape reality. They imagine it to prepare for reality. Identity begins in imagination. Before you act differently, you must see yourself differently. One person wakes up and their mind automatically shows them limitations. Past mistakes replay like a loop. Old failures feel close. Doubt feels familiar. Their imagination works against them. Another person wakes up and interrupts that pattern. They close their eyes. They choose a different image. They see themselves calm, standing with relaxed posture, speaking clearly, moving with purpose. They do not fantasize, they rehearse. The brain does not fully distinguish between vivid imagination and lived experience. When you visualize with emotion and clarity, neural pathways strengthen, confidence becomes familiar, calm becomes expected. And when confidence feels familiar, action feels less threatening. The beginner action is small, 1 minute. You do not need a perfect setting, just stillness. Close your eyes, take a slow breath in, then out. Picture the version of yourself you are becoming. Not perfect, but grounded. See how you stand. Hear how you speak. Notice how your body feels when you are steady and focused. Do not rush the image. Let it settle. 7 days. At first, your mind may resist. Old images may try to return. That is normal. Each time you gently replace them, repetition begins. After a week, something subtle changes. Self-doubt softens. Not because challenges disappeared, but because your inner image changed. You stop seeing yourself as someone who hopes, you begin seeing yourself as someone who prepares. Visualization does not remove fear, it reduces its authority. You still feel uncertainty, but it no longer defines you. You begin acting in alignment with the image you repeat. Your posture shifts, your voice steadies, your decisions feel cleaner. This habit is quiet. No one sees it, but it shapes everything that follows. You are not lying to yourself. You are training yourself. You are planting a future identity through repetition. Identity label, the becoming self. Most people already know what to do. They have watched the videos, read the books, saved the quotes. They believe more information will unlock action, but it never does. Action unlocks clarity. Think of an airplane, perfectly designed, full of fuel, engines tested, weather clear. It is built to fly. But if it never moves, it never leaves the ground. No matter how powerful the engine is, potential dies on the runway. That is how most dreams end. Not because people lack talent, not because they lack intelligence, but because they wait. Fear feels enormous when you stand still. It grows in silence. It multiplies in imagination. But movement collapses fear. One person waits to feel ready. They analyze every option. They replay risks. They delay one more day. They call it preparation, but it is protection. Another person moves before certainty arrives. They take one imperfect step. No guarantee, no applause. The moment they move, something shifts. Their body feels engaged. Their mind sharpens. Momentum begins. Clarity does not come before action. It comes after. Action teaches faster than thinking ever will. The beginner action is small, intentionally small. One email sent, one page written, one sentence spoken, one application submitted. Not 10 steps. 1. 7 days. Each day you move once, even when motivation is low, especially when motivation is low. At first, it feels uncomfortable. Your mind resists. Your body hesitates. Then evidence appears. You did something. You survived it. Nothing collapsed. Action creates evidence. Evidence builds confidence. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" You start proving, "I am doing this." Confidence is not a personality trait. It's a record of kept promises to yourself. This is not recklessness. It is courage practiced daily. You are not ignoring fear. You are moving with it. The calmest people are not fearless. They are practiced movers. They understand something most people miss. Waiting for readiness is optional. Movement creates readiness. Every time you act, you weaken doubt. Every time you delay, you feed it. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a first motion, because once you move, the runway disappears and flight begins. Final identity shift: I act before I feel ready. Identity label: the one who moves. You do not need to remember every habit. You do not need to do everything perfectly. You do not need to change your entire life today. What matters is something deeper. You have seen the pattern now. Not a routine, not a checklist, an identity system. Each morning is a quiet vote, a vote for who you are becoming. When you protect your mind, you tell yourself that your attention matters. When you write, you tell yourself that your inner world deserves clarity. When you sit in stillness, you tell yourself that you are not ruled by chaos. When you choose direction, you tell yourself that your time has purpose. When you read, you tell yourself that growth comes before noise. When you move, you tell yourself that discipline lives in the body. When you visualize, You tell yourself that the future is allowed to exist. When you act, you tell yourself that fear does not decide your life. None of these are loud. None of these require applause. They work quietly. That is why they last. You do not become strong in moments of motivation. You become strong in moments of choice. Small choices, repeated. The morning is where those choices are easiest, not because life is easy there, but because resistance is lowest. This is why winning your morning is not about waking up earlier than everyone else. It is about waking up with intention. You are no longer someone who drifts into the day. You are someone who enters it, slowly, deliberately. There is no rush here, no pressure to perform, only consistency. Some mornings will feel heavy. Some mornings will feel effortless. Show up anyway, because identity is not built on perfect days. It is built on repeated days. When you live this way long enough, people notice something different about you. You are calmer, more grounded, less reactive. Not because life became gentle, but because you became stable. And stability creates respect. Clarity creates confidence. Discipline creates freedom. This is not a promise of success overnight. It is something better. A system that does not collapse when motivation disappears. So when you wake up tomorrow, remember this. You are not fixing your life. You are shaping it, one morning at a time. Let the world wait. Let the noise stay outside a little longer. Step into the day as someone who chooses. This is not a performance. It is a practice. And if you practice long enough, it becomes who you are. That is the lock. That is the shift. Win your morning, and your life will follow.